One more. Okay. So yesterday I was at Walmart and there was this girl and she was looking for this pencil holder. But what she had in her hand was this thing you put books in. And she was like, "You think I could put pencils in here?" And I said, "Girl, no, let me show you." So I walked her over to the aisle that you put the little pencils in. And I was so excited. She said, "You good?" And I said, "Yeah, it's my first year teaching." She was like, "Oh, girl, it's my first year teaching too." And I was like, "No way, where are you teaching at?" And she said, "I got a job at Lake." And I was like, "You're kidding." And I was like, "I work at the deaf school." And she was like, "No way." Like, I went to school to be an interpreter. And I was like, "You're kidding. Like, we need interpreters. Come on." And she said, "Okay, give me your information. I'll call them." And I said, "Okay, do it. Like, come on. You don't need to work at Lake. Come work at the deaf school."
Okay.
So it was really cool. It was really nice meeting somebody who was first year teaching.
Mm-hmm. So as people seem to know now, like, this is your first year teaching.
Yes, this is my first year teaching. I'm very nervous.
Do you wanna let's introduce you first. What's your name?
Okay, my name is Charis.
Yeah.
I graduated from Mississippi College.
Okay.
I am currently teaching first grade and kindergarten. Hopefully, so right now I'm teaching first grade and kindergarten. It is my hope to one day be able to teach every grade. I think that would be so much fun. My mom's a teacher in Georgia, and I would absolutely love to teach with her at her school. I think that would be so cool. So right now I'm teaching kindergarten and first grade. Hopefully one day I'll be able to teach the other grades and be a teacher with my mom. So.
How long has this passion for teaching? All right, here we go.
Okay, so I think I've always wanted to be a teacher. In high school, I didn't really know. I was just going through an awful time, and I had teachers who were trying to help me, trying to find what I liked. And I knew that I liked to help people. I knew I didn't want to be a doctor because that's just not my scene.
Yeah.
So I thought about, being a therapist or literally anything that could help people. I was like, okay, I could do this, I could do this. And then one of my teachers one day, she said, "What about teaching?" And I was like, teaching?
That's exactly what happened to me. That's exactly what happened. I one of my teachers I respected a ton. She came, like, I walked into her classroom one day and she said, "Isaiah, you know what? You would make a great teacher, you know that?" And I was like,
and
teaching?
that stuck with you,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah,
like
that happened to
teaching.
me. I was like, I never really thought about that.
Yeah.
But, oh God, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Imagine if that person didn't say that.
Exactly.
Like, where would we be today?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild.
When you were a kid, were you, like, was that passion for teaching there? Because you said your mom's a teacher as well.
Well, I always wanted to be a teacher. I have really bad ADHD, so, like, it's really hard for me to learn, and it's really hard for me to comprehend and focus.
How was school for you?
It was hard. It was really hard. When I got to college, they didn't know how to help me, and it was really hard because like I struggle. Like, I have to read things multiple times to understand, and sometimes even then I don't understand. It takes me longer to take tests, so, like, growing up I would have a teacher that would be like, "Okay, like, take your time." And it's not like I didn't know the material, it just didn't stick, so it was hard for me. So I want to be that teacher that will be patient with the students and help them, just help them. Okay, it's okay that you need to take your time. It's okay that you don't understand, If you don't understand, let me try a different way that you can maybe understand. And if not, we'll try something else, because I know what it's like to struggle. And I know what it's like to be in a classroom where everybody else is getting all A's and you're, like, getting C's because you don't understand the material. And the teacher doesn't know how to teach it a different way. So I want to be a teacher so I can, help them. I want to make a difference in the world, and I want them to grow, and I want them to learn. And I don't want them to have to struggle because they don't understand.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
So with JA, which is Jackson Academy, like, did you guys have, like, a teaching program in that school as well, or was it
Well, I didn't graduate from JA. I went to JA until 8th grade, and then I moved to Oklahoma for 6 months, and then I came back and went to Madison Avenue, Madison Middle, and when I was 14, I moved to Alabama, and I was there for 4 years, and I didn't have any kind of resources there for like, at JA I did, like I would have, it's not really special ed, but like a class that we would go to, we'd have extra time on our tests that she'd help us go over whatever we needed help with. Alabama, not so much. And then when I was a senior in high school, I moved to Georgia. I didn't necessarily need it because I was a senior and, you know, we didn't have that much to do.
Yeah.
But then when I came to Mississippi College.
So did you go from Georgia, your 12th grade year, to Mississippi right after that, Mississippi College?
Yes, I went to Mississippi College all 4 years. So after I graduated, I came here. I had like accommodations to have longer time on test, or like to be in a room where there was no distractions, and that was fine. But the second year of college, I was like, I don't need this. And then COVID hit, so I was like, who cares? And
so
then,
you've recently graduated?
Yes, I graduated in May.
Okay.
So my third year of college, it was still kind of iffy, and then my fourth year, like I had the accommodations, but I didn't use them, and I probably should have, just because like it would have helped me, because I did have teachers who would get frustrated because I didn't understand what they were teaching, and they didn't understand how to teach it a different way. So, or like, you know, they'd get frustrated with whatever it would be, and it would have been helpful if I did have those accommodations to help me, but.
So when it comes to this being your first year, like what were the like surprises for you? Like were there any difficulties that's come through? Yeah, I know you haven't started yet, but were there?
Well, I haven't started yet, but I am very overwhelmed. I'm you know, setting up my classroom. I have an assistant teacher and an interpreter because I'm at the deaf school.
We're gonna talk about that too.
So that's a little different because I've never had either. And I feel like I don't know anything. I don't know what to have for the first day. I don't know what to put on the walls. I don't know much, but I know that I'm gonna learn a lot, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited that I get to learn, but until that happens right now, I just kind of feel stuck. So I just don't know, but the faculty is doing their best to help me, so it'll be okay.
So, like you said, we're at Mississippi School of the Deaf. So, how did you get into, you know, what made you decide to come to MSD rather than other places?
I have always had a passion for sign language, always, like my entire life. My stepmom was an interpreter, and I always thought that was so cool. I thought it was so cool that you could teach, or you could speak 2 languages at once. Like, you can't do that with anything else. And I just think it's beautiful to see somebody sign in, or you know, not having to use your mouth. Like, say you have laryngitis, you can still communicate. And I think that's so cool. I just thought it's so beautiful. So I found a passion for it, and I wanted to go to school to do something with it, deaf ed or something. I didn't have a lot of resources, so I changed my mind to be a teacher. And I'm that type of person that if somebody gives me a lot of options, I'm not able to choose.
Yeah.
Because what if I choose the wrong one, you know? So I applied here to be, I thought I wasn't ready to teach. I was really not ready. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was scared to death. So I was like, the first year I'll be a student assistant, and then, you know, then I'll teach after that. Well, I applied for a job here to be like an adorn parent, and I was like, okay, I'm excited. I'll get my foot in. I'll learn sign language. It'll be awesome. So I was sending out my applications to all the school districts. Didn't hear anything from anybody. I talked to, I student taught at Madison Avenue, and I talked to the principal, and I was like, well, I would really like to work here. And he was like, well, I just don't know if we'll be able to help you the way you need to be helped. And I'm like, okay, I understand. And I told him that I had a passion for sign language, and he said, well, check out the deaf school. And I was like, are you sure? Because like I really don't know that much sign language.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, check it out. So I checked it out, and I had an interview to be a dorm parent. I said, okay, this is perfect. I could learn my sign language, but not teach right now, which is what I wanted. So I was talking to the lady, and she said, you know what, we're gonna give your resume to the HR. Didn't think anything of it. A couple weeks later, I get a phone call for an interview, and I'm like, well, that's odd. I already had an interview. Why am I having another interview? And so I come to have an interview for a teaching position, and I was like, what?
It's probably because of your positive energy.
I hope so. I try to be positive.
Were you always this positive, like as a kid?
When I was in 3rd grade, I didn't really talk.
Yeah.
Shocker, right? But then my parents got divorced, and I was in church one day, and my pastor was talking about how sometimes when you go through like hard things, your whole personality can change. So like my parents got divorced, and I just became like this really outspoken, do this, who like lots of energy kind of person, and I love it. Like this is who I am. I couldn't imagine me any other kind of way.
That's very interesting, because you know most people when they go through something like that, they become more shut down, more
Right.
reserved and stuff like that. So for you to become more open, it's really interesting.
I agree, and maybe that helped put me on the path I am on today, because I just, like when I was in the 3rd grade, I didn't talk. I was very shy, and then I wasn't. And now I'm just like, oh, hey stranger, like
you're helping people in Walmart find their pencils.
Exactly. I just like it. I can talk to anybody about anything, and it just I can connect with people. Like yesterday when I saw that girl at Lake, oh wow, you're a teacher, me too. Like, they tell me something, and somehow, some way, I can connect it to me. And, like, that's just, like, who I am. I'm a connector. I'm an includer. Okay, you like that instead of this? Fine, come on. Like, I don't know. It's just really cool to me to be able to find connections with people.
Was it hard for you dealing with your parents divorcing? Because at that time you were like, what, 9?
I was 8. At the time, it was really hard. I thought it was the worst thing ever. I was an only child, and I was so mad.
Do you have any siblings now?
I do.
Okay.
I'll get to that.
Yeah.
So, it was hard, because to me, like, I had asked them, you know, are y'all gonna get divorced? And they're like, oh no. I was like, okay. So then they told me, and I just like felt betrayed, you know. And it was hard at first, because my friends at school would ask me about it, and anytime they asked me about it, like, it would make me sad. But then when I was 12, my stepdad and my dad and my stepmom had my baby sister. And then in 2014, they had my other sister, and now I'm the oldest of 6. So if they hadn't gotten divorced, I wouldn't have my siblings, and I love them more than anything in this world. So
yeah. There's always a silver lining to anything.
Definitely. So, and I've been through a lot of hardships in my life, but I think that the hardships that I've gone through are gonna help me help others. Mm-hmm. Because I know what I've been through, and it was hard. So it's gonna help me make it easier for others to go through those same situations.
Most definitely. So let's cycle back a little bit to, I think you said Madison Avenue. Okay. Is that right? So what was your student teaching experience like at Madison Avenue?
Okay, well, I student taught at 2 different places.
Okay. How long were you student teaching? For a year or a half a year?
The first time I student taught, it was like September to November.
Yeah.
I student taught at Pecan Park. That's over by the zoo. Don't love it there, but the kids were amazing, and they were so sweet, and they were just my buddies there. And then in January, from January to May, I student taught at Madison Avenue, and that was wonderful. The kids were lovely. The faculty was pretty good. I learned a lot. I learned more in that semester than I think I ever have.
It's crazy, isn't it? Like student teaching, you level up so much.
Right. I just never like expected it because I'm like, wow, like I know I talked about this at school, but
it's so different with the kids.
And it was so cool because it was nice. Like I would have times where I would teach or.
That's what I was gonna ask. Did it start off as a like you were observing at the beginning and then like helping out students and then kind of like being an assistant almost, and then over time it became more and more hands-on for you where you had to teach lessons?
So I was really nervous to teach.
Same.
So the lady I was with, I was like, the first couple days I was just watching, you know, to see how she did things. And then it became, you know, like you said, an assistant teacher, but we already had one of those. So it was like more in depth than a student teacher, or like an assistant teacher, but not like a teacher.
Yeah.
But when we had subs, I was the
teacher. Yep.
So I liked that. I liked being in control. I liked, oh, you don't want to do that? That's too bad. Like, you need to do it. That's what the lesson plan says you need to do, so you need to do it. And it was just nice because it was like my own area. But when the teacher was there, it was her area, you know, so I couldn't do things my way.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I loved all the kids. I babysat some of them this summer. It was awesome. We had so much fun. I'm gonna miss them. We clicked, and I don't know if what I taught, if they learned anything, but I didn't get to teach as much as I would like to have, just because like that's what I wanted. I didn't want to teach as much because I was afraid, but now I'm here
teaching
and I'm like, well, I should have taught a little bit more, but it's okay.
Most definitely. I'm excited to like talk to you again in a couple of months. And
I'm excited. Right now I'm nervous, but you're gonna talk to me in a couple of months. I'm gonna still be nervous, but I'm gonna be like, well, listen, so this one kid and this one kid, when we do this, we go to recess.
Yep. Okay. Were there any like particular difficulties that you ran into during student teaching, or?
Yeah. When I was at Pecan Park, I had set up, like, I had my teacher who needed to come and watch me. And the day she was supposed to come and watch me, the whole grade had a quarantine for COVID. So I'm like, no, like, what am I supposed to do? Like, she's here. She's supposed to watch me right now. And I had my stuff ready, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then they moved me to kindergarten. And she was like, do you want me to watch your lesson? And I'm like, you want to watch my 3rd grade lesson with my kindergartners? I don't think so. Like, no, come back in a few days. It was difficult. And in the kindergarten, they had another student teacher. She had gotten COVID. But when she got better, she was there. So it was me, the teacher, the other student teacher, and the assistant. And I'm like, this is so many people.
Exactly.
Like, there was just like not enough jobs to give us. So some days I'm just like
sitting there.
Right. And I'm like, sometimes when you go into places, you know, teachers will be like, do this or this or this. And I'm that type of person, like, if you don't tell me to do something, I'm not gonna do it. Like, don't just assume I'm gonna do it. I'm not. And that's how this teacher was. So I just sit there. She'd be like, why are you not doing that? And I'm like, you didn't tell me to do that. Or like if I would go and do something, she'd be like, why are you doing that? I'm sorry, what do you want from me? When I went to Madison, it was a lot better. It just, you know, was getting more like, wow, it's about to be your time, it's about to be your time. And so I was just like, ooh, freaking out, you know. And there was a lot going on. When I was student teaching at Pecan Park, I had lost my best friend, and like 2 other people that I was really close with, they all passed away. So like student teaching had become really rough. I didn't want to do it.
If you don't mind me asking about it.
So 3 of them kind of all passed away at the same time. The first one was my best friend Abby. My best friend Jay. I've known him since preschool. he's my best friend in the whole entire world, and he got cancer and passed away. He's our age, he's 22. He has a wife and a baby, and so he passed away. So that about killed me. I'm like, I can't. And then my best friend Jordan, her sister had gotten acute myeloid cancer, which is like the most rarest kind of cancer. She was 18 and she passed away, and that was hard because I've known her my whole life too. And then my uncle, a good family friend of mine, he also he didn't have cancer, but his wife, she passed away a couple years ago. She had cancer, but he didn't. He was perfectly healthy, and then he went to a hospital, and I got put on a ventilator, and then he just passed away. So he passed away. And then in January, I was dating this guy. We're not together anymore, side note. And his best friend in all of eternity passed away. So I'm just like, death. And it's really hard it's hard to deal with death. But it's hard to deal with death when you're trying to start your career. You know, it puts your mind back in focus and lets you like, okay, let me see this from a different kind of perspective, you know?
Yeah.
And you never know what these other teachers are going through. Like, you know, they might be having a bad day and you don't know why. So it's interesting.
So what about for the future? Like, what are your goals with teaching? I know that you want to teach every grade, which is
I don't know if I could do it. I mean, my mom's done it. I think I could do it. I think it'd be really cool to teach in every state.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how feasible that would be, but I think it would be awesome to teach.
So you want to be a teacher throughout your life? You're not interested in going into administration or anything like that?
I thought about becoming a principal just because I don't like how some schools are run. And I might change my mind on that because I do like that. That's just a lot of work I don't feel like doing.
Yeah.
But, like, my goal, like, I'm always going to be in school. One day I would like to have my own school, so but I wouldn't be like the administrator. I'd be like a teacher or something.
Yeah.
I want to have my own school. It'd be a small school, but I'd like it to be a deaf school. I have the name, but I'm not gonna say it. I don't want anybody to take it.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
You were talking
It's
about
gone.
the school that you wanted to create and your goal.
Yeah. So my goal, well, I want to be a teacher, which that was goal number one.
Yeah.
So that's happening. And I would like to become proficient in sign language. I would love to work with the deaf, which I'm doing now, or teach sign language to hearing kids. I think that would be awesome. I think it's a great language. I think that they need to know it. I think maybe one day I'd like to be principal. I thought about it. So, like I said, because I don't like how things are run, and I'm like, well, this could be so much better if you did this or whatever, you know. So that's kind of in the back of my head. I was going to go get my master's in special education. I might be putting that on the back burner for now, but I'm definitely going to be getting my master's in special ed. And when I have the resources, I will be getting some kind of certification in the deaf area. So.
This time I lost my train of thought.
You better find it.
What was I going to ask you? It's gone.
You should find it.
It disappeared. We're gonna have to, we can't even cut this out. We're just gonna be.
Look, do this. Like hold your wrist
Yep.
and like close your eyes.
Okay.
That's supposed to help.
All right. I'm gonna try that. I don't know. It's gonna.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about something else until you think of it.
Yeah. It was about administration, but I don't remember what it was.
It's okay.
It's gone.
It's okay. Talk about something else.
I'm stuck on what this thing was. I want to know what I wanted to ask you. Oh, there it was. So when it comes to the, what is something that like most of us, don't understand about the deaf community that you feel like it'd be nice for us to understand?
I feel like a lot of people think that the deaf are stupid or dumb, and they're not. They just can't hear. And some of them can hear, just not very well, And so I think that one thing that people should know is that, you know, they're human just like us. They want to learn, they want to be better, you know, so you shouldn't have to put them in the corner because they can't understand or because they can't hear you. And if there's one thing that I want people to know is that deaf students are for sure 100% not dumb. They are some of the smartest people I've ever met. And I wish that other people thought that too.
And what about teaching? What is something about teaching that people don't understand? I know you're pretty fresh in the game, so like you'll have stronger opinions 3 months from now.
Well, right now I would say that a lot of teachers don't know how to.
Well, what do people not know about teaching?
Like, I don't know, because what I want to say is that a lot of teachers don't know how to change what they're teaching so multiple students understand.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what you're asking me.
No, but that's interesting. Continue.
I think, like, I'm a visual learner, I'm a hands-on learner. So, like, if we're having some kind of meeting and you're just telling me something in my ear, I'm gonna forget. But, like, if you have a picture of it, then okay. So, like, I think that teachers need to know how to change what they're teaching so every one of their students can understand. So, like, if you have a visual learner, like say we're talking about snakes, okay? Okay, snakes are in the ground, they slither, okay? So you can talk about that. Well, the kid who's not an auditory learner is gonna forget. So, you know, like, they could take notes or see a picture and it would help them.
Or even have a video of snakes.
Exactly. So, you know, there's words that I wanna say, but I don't know how to say them. Yeah. I just know that good teachers, they understand their students, they understand how they learn, and they need to be able to be flexible and change what they're teaching that day for every student to have the opportunity to learn.
Most definitely. I love that.
Thank you.
So, 3 months from now, when we do this again, like,
I feel like my answer's gonna be the same.
I'm expecting for you to be one of those flexible teachers that ensures that the students are able to learn.
Well, absolutely, because I told you I want to make a difference and I want these kids to learn. And I have full faith that they're going to learn, they're going to be on the level that they need to be on. They're going to come out of this classroom knowing everything they need to know and more. And I'm so excited that I get the privilege to teach them, that I get to help them learn what they need to know.
All right. Thank you, Charis. I'm glad you did this, and I hope we talk to you soon.
Thank you. I hope you have a good day.